So we'll continue our focus on commodities market and with, of course, data given to us by financial derivatives company. I've got one of the research analysts here with me in the studio, Opeyemi Oguntade. Thank you so much for coming in, and thank you, folks, for also providing this data for us. So let's start from the domestic market, and let's start with the price of cement. Do you think that the price of cement is going to be moving lower anytime soon? Yes, we've seen that a lot of work has been done by Dangote Cement in terms of its expansion and the rest of it, and a lot of people are hoping that now that there's been growing calls to use more cement for road construction, just maybe we'll see cement coming down.
Well, ideally in the market, if you have an increase in demand, then you shouldn't expect to see a decline in the prices. But for now, what we've seen is that there's been, what you said about construction, that we're more likely to have more constructions in the coming months. So if anything, we should expect cement prices to go up rather than going down if there's an increase in demand. But for now, there's been no indication that cement prices are going to go down. Okay,
so for Lagos, we're actually seeing cement price at 1,700. Boy, Onitsha is at 1,400. Is it at, let me just, find out here, do we have more construction going on in Lagos, which is the reason why we have the price of cement at that price?
Yes, definitely. We definitely have more construction going on in Lagos compared to Onitsha, because Lagos is like the commercial hub of Nigeria, so most of business developments tend to take place in Lagos.
Okay, so let's talk about the rest of the other domestic commodities that we track, like maize, flour and sugar. The year is actually winding down. People have begun to shop for the holiday season. Do we expect to see prices? Well, a lot of people know that prices will definitely, increase, especially with the constraints for some of these exporters with regards, getting the products, importing them, and the rest of it. But do you expect any form of moderation?
No, because what we usually have is at year-end, when the festive season is drawing, there's an increase in demand, and we know that an increase in demand usually leads to an increase in price. So basically, I expect the prices of these commodities to even go up further, and plus we know that the season has come to an end. So what we probably, especially for maize, for corn, we know the season has come to an end, so we'll probably have scarcity of that commodity, and once you have scarcity, prices tend to go up as well. And coupled with the fact that you have forex restrictions for some certain commodities, for instance flour, this would definitely affect the ability of some certain firms to be able to import these products into the market for the fast-moving consumer goods like flour mill and the likes.
So no cake baking this holiday?
No, there will definitely be cake baking. I mean, you can't really have a party without your cake.
Yeah, but then this should be a good time for local, manufacturers of, some of these commodities to really, pushing their products into the market and try to crash the price of other imported products as well.
Yes, they would really love to do that. But then when you look at the Nigerian market is really suffering from investments, so to speak, and also looking at quality. So if you go to the market and you want to get a cake, or you go to the supermarket and you want to get a cake, you're more likely to pick the cake that is coming from, an imported cake than one that was made in Nigeria, because you just feel like the quality of that one will probably be better than the one made in Nigeria. So we also have that issue of, consumer preferences, especially. So hopefully in the future things will get better in terms of quality and the likes, but for now I don't think that is necessarily what's going to happen in the short term.
Okay, so now talk to us about where most of this FMCG companies stand for the stock performance of these companies. We're seeing that there's largely no change except for flour mill, which week on week change is at 3.52%, and it's trading at 22 naira 5 kobo.
Yeah, well, for the commodities market, what really drives the stock performance is not so much about the prices of the commodities that they are purchasing for the inputs. It's more like what's happening in the stock markets, investor sentiments and the likes. But what we've seen is that most of their half-year results, for instance, Nestle did moderately well, flour mills actually did quite well, and Cadbury didn't do too well. So I think when we analyze what's going on, especially for the third quarter in Nigeria wasn't so great in terms of growth. Yeah. There was a slowdown in growth. So I'm guessing that definitely affected their performance, so to speak, about their half-year performance. But looking at the stock market, it's more of what the investor sentiment within the market. That's what drives prices.
Not what's happening on the global market, because looking at what the analysis you folks put forward, we've noticed that there's been mixed trading, especially for corn, for instance, and for sugar. Sugar futures have continued to trend up because of El Nino, and we're not seeing El Nino abating anytime soon.
No, we're not actually. It's affecting both production in Brazil and India, which are the top 2 producers of sugar in the world. So we don't, El Nino patterns, it doesn't look like it's going to come to an end by the end of this year. It looks like it's going to spill over into 2016. So sugar prices are definitely going to keep going up. It's actually at 0.1511, which is pretty high compared to where it was a couple of months ago.
And it's the same thing also for cocoa prices. We've seen an increase in cocoa beans produced from the second largest exporter dropping as well. So it's almost like the good news kind of outweighs the bad news, or the bad news outweighs the good news.
Well, in a way, it depends on what angle you're looking at it from. The stakeholders. I mean, if you're going, I'm
looking at it now as a consumer.
As a consumer,
yes.
Then for you, it's not great news, because the prices of some certain commodities that you buy will probably go up, like your chocolates, because obviously
why does everybody always refer to chocolates?
Because that's the most common one that comes to head when you're thinking about cocoa. You think of chocolates before you think of Milo.
Why don't you think of hot chocolate drink? Just something to.
Do we really take hot chocolate in Nigeria? More like Milo.
It helps to relax you when you come out from a very hard day, at work and the rest of it, and go through all the traffic here in Lagos and the potholes, and then you find yourself practically shouting yourself hoarse because of some drivers not behaving themselves. So yes, a hot cup of chocolate would do very well.
Or a bowl of cold water and curry.
Yes, a bowl of cold water and Gary. So that takes me back again to the price of Gary. We see Gary trending at 4,000 naira for 50 kg bag, and in Onitsha is 3,500, but in Kano is at 5,000 naira.
Well, funny enough, I discovered something about cassava. The president of the African Development Bank recently, came out to say he intends to invest more in cassava processing, to improve the value, so to speak. And if you read about, Nigeria is actually the #1 producer of cassava in the world. So there's potential in that market. And then if you look at cassava as well, you can get bioethanol from cassava, which is a substitute for petrol. So him coming out to say he intends to invest more in cassava is actually a good thing. And I think Nigerians should be on the lookout for cassava. For those that want to go into the cassava business, there's potential in that market.
Okay, so hold that to your chest. But thank you so much, Opeyemi, for coming.
Thank you for having me
this morning. Opeyemi Oguntade is a research analyst with AfriInvest. So I beg your pardon, with Financial Derivatives Company. We'll take a quick break now on the program, and we'll be right back.